Hi, students and family members. Let's talk about the Pilgrims. First, I want you to predict, why did the Pilgrims leave England and relocate to North America in the first place? Now let's read the story as to why they did such a thing. 1. It's great when everyone can get along. We all know that. However, that rarely happens for a long period of time. England was still feeling great about knocking Spain off the North American continent. Not totally, but England had taken most of the North American continent after they defeated the Spanish Armada. Remember, it helped them gain lots of confidence. However, there was still unhappiness within the English ranks. It was a rule at that time that if you lived in England, you needed to belong to the Church of England. And as we've discussed in history so far this year, religion and religious beliefs can be the start of difficulties within new areas of settlement. Some people said, tough luck. I don't have the same beliefs at this church, and I don't want to belong to the Church of England. These people became known as separatists. They wanted to separate themselves from the Church of England. Some of the Pilgrims, or some of the separatists, took it a step further. They actually left and wanted to go somewhere else. Pilgrims are known as people who travel somewhere else because of religious reasons. One group of pilgrims went to the Netherlands. They were allowed to practice their own religious beliefs, but they didn't want to be around the beliefs of others. Kind of interesting. They decided they were going to try to find room in that new big world they had been hearing about on the North American continent. The Virginia Company, who was still supported and supporting the Church of England, said that the Pilgrims could have some land near their settlement that they had named after King James, Jamestown, one of the earliest and most somewhat successful settlements of the English individuals in the North American continent. In 1620, 100 men, women, and children jumped into a large ship called the Mayflower. They went to Jamestown. Well, they thought they were headed there anyway. There was a huge storm that actually blew the Mayflower way off course, and instead of landing in Virginia, they anchored in present-day Massachusetts, north of Jamestown. So the Pilgrims instead decided they'd set up camp there. There was nobody there or near to tell them what to do. They decided to make up their own rules and laws. That's exactly what they did. When they made up these new rules and laws, they called it the Mayflower Compact. A compact is another word for an agreement. So they were the agreed-upon laws of the area from the Pilgrims for the Pilgrims. At first, Pilgrims settled down at the very tip of a hook-like structure called a cape. They called it the Cape Cod. They decided to find a new place to live across the water. They named that place Plymouth Rock, and that's why when you read the stories today of the Pilgrims, they all say they landed at Plymouth. That was after a place in England. Unfortunately, Pilgrims landed in November that fall, and it was too late to crop for planting, which meant they didn't have much food. Almost half of the Pilgrims died that winter. So in review, let's check if your prediction was right. Pilgrims left England for religious freedom. Freedoms, and to try and hopefully get rid of the religious persecution they felt and separating from the Church of England.